Morning to you. Should we hold our breath on this one or not? It feels like we've sort of heard these things before and nothing much has happened.
Absolutely. We've heard time and time again deals with France. We've given them more and more money that's going to help, and then we have to give them more money because it's not worked. We've had the government say that they're going to tackle illegal immigration by changing the law. I mean, we've been told since 2016 Brexit would help us get a tackle on top of this. It didn't. We were then told it's fine because now we've left the EU, we can change the law and that will work. And we had the new plan for immigration. That didn't work. Then we had the Rwanda scheme. That hasn't worked. So we have been told time and time again we've marched up the hill to be marched right back down again. Problem is the Conservatives are getting closer and closer to an election, and that is when, you know, voters will have the chance to say what they really think. So they kind of have to make this one work. What is different this time, though, is that we are going to have British troops on the ground, British border patrol on the ground with France. And that's something that the UK has wanted for a number of years that France has held out on. So there is a substantial change in what the UK is getting this time round. So this might be the time that it happens.
And I suppose what you could also say is different this time is that relationship between the two leaders. We just saw while you were speaking the pictures of Rishi Sunak with Macron yesterday. I think it's the front of the Metro this morning, describing it as Sunak going on the charm offensive, which I enjoyed. But it certainly seems as though that relationship already is bearing fruit.
Yeah, I mean, it looked far more chummy than it did when Macron met with Liz Truss just a month ago. After her friend or foe comments during the summer, their relationship, when they first met in New York for the United Nations, it looked far more awkward, far more tense. Yesterday, they looked far more like they were enjoying themselves. So, yeah, I think that personal relationship is really important.
Yeah, I mean, they almost seem quite similar characters, don't they, in all of this? But also, I was going to say, when it comes to the migration issue, the pressure is on, isn't it, because of the Labour Party position now on that, where they've certainly seemed to be really pitching for the middle ground.
Yeah, and this is an issue that voters really do care about. For Conservative voters in red wall seats, it's seen as the number 2 issue after the cost of living crisis. So there really is a pressure that they have to do something, and the Conservatives have repeatedly said that they are going to get a grip on it, and that once you start talking about something as often as you're talking about it, you then have to follow through, or voters will go, well, hold on, why am I voting for you?
Yeah, well, it's the number 1 issue at the moment, or number 2 issue. But what do you think is going to happen when we get to the 17th and the autumn statement? Because we're getting, I don't know, in terms of expectation management, is it going to be better than we're being led to believe, do you think?
Well, the reports that come out overnight is on pensions and benefits, and they are going to rise with inflation. That will be...
So the triple lock.
Triple lock. Pensions will still be in place, and that benefits payments will rise in line with inflation. There had been talk they may rise with average earnings, which would be a far lower amount. If that is correct, what's been reported, that will be welcome news to lots of people across the country, and that expectation management that has been done over the last few weeks will pay off for the government, because suddenly, where people are nervous, they'll feel very relieved.
Yeah, and meeting that commitment that was made in the manifesto as well of 2019, which would always get lots of credit and popular with Tory voters as well, particularly when it comes to pensioners. What about this exclusive on the front of the Telegraph, talking about a deal that we understand when he was Chancellor, Sunak had been working hard to try and get through with America to bring in gas as part of this energy crisis solution. But all of this happening at the same time as standing up at COP27 yesterday saying we all need to stop our dependence on fossil fuels. There will be some people saying, great news that we've got this deal on the cards, but a bit hypocritical?
Well, I think most people, you know, there's the general consensus across the UK that net zero needs to be done, we need to tackle climate change, but quite frankly, it doesn't happen overnight. So the suggestion that we should just stop using fossil fuels now and let's all have blackouts this winter is just ridiculous. So I think most people would say this is welcome news, and in the longer term, we need to keep up those commitments to a net zero.
It's interesting, though, isn't it? Because LNR, the liquid natural gas that would be sort of tankered over, is actually very expensive anyway, isn't it? It's an expensive way of doing it.
Right now, though, if you look at the situation, we need whatever we can get to help us get through this winter, and I think any solution that can be put on the table will be welcomed.
Stopping blackouts will definitely be celebrated for that. A quick word about Gavin Williamson.
Oh, yeah, why not?
He's now, I think it's the Times this morning, he's been using words like slit your throat, jump out the window, just to add insult to injury, with seeing all the WhatsApp messages over the weekend. Your thoughts on that one?
I think Rishi Sunak will be very frustrated that the last 10 days he's spent a lot of time defending his cabinet ministers rather than setting out his policy agenda. There was Suella Braverman, we've now got Gavin Williamson. question is, can they last? The longer this goes on, the more headlines that come out, and the more it means that Rishi Sunak has to spend his time defending them, the more he's going to lose his patience, be like, you know what, this just isn't worth it.
Oh, well, we shall watch that very closely. Dan, thank you very much indeed. We'll catch up